What's going on, everyone? So, Dorian Finney Smith has really been an impactful player, in my opinion, for the Los Angeles Lakers, right? I know some people are like, D'Lo this, D'Lo that. Look, I was a big D'Lo supporter, still am. I'm rooting for his success. But Dorian Finney Smith solved a bigger need than what we had for D'Lo. Also, it just seemed like, it was inevitable. I mean, from the moment we got D'Lo, it was like he was going to get traded at some point. Dorian Finney Smith gives you a sizable, versatile defender that can impact and give you the hustle plays, do the dirty work. We've seen him do that. He's coming off of his best game for the Lakers in a win over the Washington Wizards, right? He's a guy that you can see, if you get the right pieces, should be slotted into the three. And I mean, to this point, we're all kind of screaming like, dude, why isn't Dorian Finney Smith playing the three as the starter for the Lakers? Why is Rui Hachimura being the starting three? It makes no sense. He's best off the bench at this point. They're probably going to have to trade him at some point. Dorian Finney-Smith just is a better natural three, gives us what we need in the starting unit with the defensive versatility, also maintains some shooting, right? Gives you that flexibility that the Lakers really need. Well, we got an update in regards to Dorian Finney-Smith and why he hasn't started and, has only been playing, 20, 22 minutes a game. It's like, man, this is a guy that should be playing 30 plus a night. And it's been because he's been on minute restriction since the Lakers acquired him. Head coach J.J. Redick recently spoke on it and gave us some clarification saying that, hey, since we acquired him, we knew that he was going to have to be on minute restrictions, and that's why we haven't played him as much, but he is supposedly slowly being able to ramp up. He's supposed to be able to play going forward, 4 or 5 extra minutes. So you should be able to get him around 30 minutes, 28 to 30 minutes a game. Now, here's the thing, though. Why are we just finding out about this now, for one? And two, right, like the timing's a little interesting, right? I'm sure that we've heard all the noise. There's been a lot of questions about why hasn't Dorian Finney-Smith started? Why is he only playing, 22 minutes a night? All of that. I think this is just kind of an excuse, right? Personally, this is just me. Could be wrong. Tinfoil hat on. I think the Lakers are trying to trade Rui Hachimura. And I've said this before. I mean, I said this a week, 2 weeks ago when we were all screaming for it to happen. I said the only way it makes sense for Rui Hachimura to continue to be in the starting unit is if Rob Pelinka himself has told JJ, hey, I need you to stick with Rui because I'm trying to trade him. I'm working on trades, and I can't have you bench him, right? You need to have the allure that he is a huge piece, that he's a starter for us. We're not just going to give you a starter for nothing. Last thing you want to do is start benching guys and all that. Like, you don't want to do that, right? He already has, neutral to negative value, right? Like, last thing you want to do is now add even less where it's like, oh, well, now he's just like getting 20 minutes a game for you. You got to keep Rui at the 35-minute a game mark, 35 minute a game mark. You gotta just stick to that formula. So what I think happened is I think that's what the real reason is. But J.J. Redick and the Lakers can't just come out and be like, oh, we're about to trade Rui Hachimura, right? Like, they have to keep things under wraps. And I'm sure, the best lie is one rooted in truth. Right? So I'm sure that there is some truth to it, right? I'm sure there is some element of hey, Rui Hachimura probably getting traded at some point. Dorian Finney-Smith, maybe he did have some ankle injury and they're just trying to be cautious with him, right? Like, there is that element to it without a doubt. But I also think a lot of it is I think it's just kind of pandering at this point. Because again, like, if that was the case, if that was true, why not make that known? Like, why, a month after we made the move, now you want to come out and be like, oh, well, really what it is. I just think that's a little silly to me. Look, and I've talked about it. I like Rui a lot, but I just think he's the odd man out, unfortunately. And I just think he's a guy that we're going to need to end up moving off of here at some point. I think he's a guy that you're going to have to convert into just a player that just makes a little more sense. I think you're going to need to turn him into a guy that can just kind of fit what the Lakers need a little more, right? Particularly out on the perimeter. And now that you have Dorian Finney-Smith, he's a guy that should be slotting in, playing 30-plus minutes a night for you at the small forward position. He's the guy that should be because he can play both sides of the basketball. We know he can still shoot the three ball. We know that he can get after it. They're averaging essentially the same points on the season, right? But one guy actually can defend and help rebound and do the dirty work and do all those things. Another guy can't. And I just think Dorian Finney Smith is just better in that role that the Lakers need. I just think he's better in the position that at the three for the Lakers. But I'm glad, regardless if this is true, I'm glad we got some form of clarity, right? Something that we can point to and go, okay, at least now there's some logic and something that makes sense to it, rather than just like, is this really just incompetency, right? Like, it's like malpractice at this point. Like, why isn't Dorian Finney Smith starting, right? We need his impact. We need his defense, especially now that Jared Vanderbilt's coming back. Adding Jared Vanderbilt to a Dorian Finney Smith. I mean, you can start seeing the defense really shape up here. You can start seeing that this team might be able to be one of the top, if not better, defenses in the league, right? Maybe even be the best overall defense. Because, we saw Jared Vanderbilt plus Anthony Davis equaled the best defense, right? A couple seasons ago. Well, what does that look like with Jared Vanderbilt? Oh, and now you have a Dorian Finney Smith who gives you another 6'7", versatile wing defender that has good size, good length, can defend multiple positions, can do multiple things out there on the basketball court, can do the hustle plays, do the dirty work, sacrifice his body, do all the things that the Lakers desperately need. What does that bring? Right? How does that impact this Lakers team? I think the Lakers would have the potential at that point. Jared Vanderbilt's going to take some time to get in the swing of things, but I do think if you can move Dorian Finney-Smith into the starting unit, and then now you have a Jared Vanderbilt that can kind of slot in and pick up and do what you need on that end. I just think it makes more sense for the Lakers, especially with what this team needs. I also think, come playoff time, at least closing, I think you should at least close. If you want to keep Max Christie the starting unit for his confidence stuff, sure. But I think once you get to the playoffs, because you want to kind of wean Jared Vanderbilt into it, you don't want to rush him into it. I do think you need and Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. That should be your starting five. I just think, though, between Dorian Finney-Smith and Jared Vanderbilt, I think that would give you enough to kind of mask some of your inabilities, some of your liabilities on the defensive side of things in particular. And I just think you'd be in a much better position at that point. Obviously, there'd be concerns about, shooting and stuff like that, teams packing the paint, but they're going to do that regardless. Teams are going to be worried about LeBron James and Anthony Davis, not Austin Reeves knocking down 8 threes and Dorian Finney-Smith and all these guys just shooting a bunch of threes. Like, they're just not going to be worried about that. So, to me, I just think if you can solve what you can, control what you can control, fix what you can fix, right? I just think at some point Dorian Finney-Smith needs to move in the starting unit. I think at some point you need to go with Austin Reeves, Max Christie, Dorian Finney-Smith, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. Obviously, if a trade happens or something, right? If a significant move ends up getting done, then sure, right? Obviously, things change. But as of right now, as it stands, I just think, you need to move Dorian Finney-Smith into the starting unit sooner rather than later. If you can now ramp up and he can now play an extra 4 to 5 minutes a game, beautiful, perfect. Let's do that, right? But then you need to make that move sooner rather than later. I'd like that in the Boston game. Right? I hope we get news that happens. I hope come Boston, right? Like, Dorian Finney-Smith is in the starting unit because, okay, again, if he was on minute restrictions and you were trying to be cautious and you're trying to keep him, as healthy as possible, okay, fine. We can all buy into that. We can all be on board. Well, now you're telling us that he gets an extra 4 to 5 minutes a game. That's enough to warrant a starting spot, right? He should be playing 26 to 30 minutes now, right? Like, I want to see them make this move. It's been long overdue. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you agree? Do you think, yes, you got to start Jared Vanderbilt or Dorian Finney-Smith? Sorry. Yes, you got to start Dorian Finney-Smith. Jared Vanderbilt, too. So you can start both of them. I don't care. No, or do you think, no, kind of keep it as it is, right? Wait, do it after the trade deadline, depending on how things shape up. Again, I'd rather it get done sooner rather than later so we can start building chemistry with the starters, with the starting unit, right? Really kind of be out there and have that impact. I just think it's something that needs to be done sooner rather than later. You had the minute restrictions, fine, so be it. We get it. We understand. Okay, well, now he's able to have some of that removed, some of that lifted. He needs to play. Get them out there on the basketball court. Let them play, and let's get something going here. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, either way, love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.